Good morning. I'm Sunni Cohoes, and in 1998, my husband at that time and I moved up to the northern suburbs from the southern suburbs. And I was stubborn because he wanted to move up here, and I said, not until you find me a church. I don't care where we move, but I have to have a church to go to. I need to have that foundation for my family. You see, I was already in a church that I grew up in, and it was actually a 4-generational church. My grandparents, my mom, myself, and my kids were attending this church. And Coon Rapids is kind of generational too, as I look out and I see families that have multiple generations here. And so we came up here at one time, and we were looking for houses, and we were looking for churches at the same time, and we were overwhelmed with everything. And we came here and it was during the summer, and Pastor Grant was on vacation. And somebody came up to me and said, to get a real feel of the church, make sure you come back when the pastor's here. And so we were like, okay. And so we came back, and we found a house in Anoka, and we came back a couple weeks later, and Pastor Grant was here. And we felt really welcomed. The minute we walked in the door, we were greeted. People talked to us, and we were like, wow, this is kind of an amazing church. And it really, truly, for me, coming from a church I already had a foundation in, it felt like home. And so we, sorry, I'm kind of all over the place right now. So we came back. We closed on our house, we came back on Rally Sunday, and there were people everywhere. It's like the church had exploded people. And so we signed up, and I think I visited every table out there, and I went home with stacks of paper, and I was going through stuff. What can we get involved in? I wanted to be in a choir. I wanted to make sure the kids had something to do, and Luke was 4 at that time. So I wanted a Sunday school, and then we realized there's a church with a daycare. Yes, we scored twice. So Luke ended up being in the daycare, and so we just ended up making this church our home. And my ex-husband now, he has a daughter, and she got involved in Solid Rock. And I was just amazed with this choir. And she walked down the hall, because Solid Rock used to practice in the choir room, and all of a sudden we hear, woohoo, another alto! And I'm like, what was that? And who was that? So after church we said to her, who was that? She said, I have no idea, but this girl just jumped into my arms, and I have no idea who she was. It ended up being Amanda Foster. So the first couple of weeks, I was in the choir, I was up here, and then all of a sudden Pastor Grant said, does anybody want to join the church? And so I popped up out of the choir, and my husband walked down the aisle, and we joined the church within 2 weeks of being here. And Pastor Grant says, so how long have you been going here? And I'm like, 2 weeks. And he was like, oh, you know how Pastor Grant is. If ever anybody has seen Pastor Grant, that's how he is. He loved it. Within 6 weeks, we really wanted to get involved, and we thought, well, we really want to see what this Solid Rock Singers is all about. So 6 weeks later, it was October, we went to Aiken with Solid Rock on our first overnight. We had never been on an overnight with youth before, and I'm like, what are we doing? Boy, what fun that was. It was a great time. They took us in just like we had been a part of them for years. And Luke went with us, and he was coloring on the bus, and it was just great. So fast forward a few years, and my family hit a bump. I went through a divorce, and I decided to leave church for whatever reason. And I looked for 5 years for a church to come back to. Sorry, I'm a crier. All the Solid Rock kids know. Sorry. And then one day the boys sat me down and said, Mom, we need to go back to Coon Rapids. That's where we know people there. And I was thinking, you're right. So About 6 years ago, we walked back into this church, and I joined the choir again, and I became a helper of Light of Life. Helper in terms of Light of Life means you now are an assistant director. And I loved it. I loved being with the kids. And then Cindy announced her retirement, and then Jenny decided to leave. And I just felt I wanted to be able to spend more time with my younger, who's now a solid rocker. And I thought, what a great opportunity for me to my love of music and be able to spend some time with some awesome teenagers. I mean, my coworkers at work think I'm crazy, but well, and if you know me, you know I kind of am. I love working with Solid Rock. It's so fun to watch them grow from little sixth graders to seniors. It's fun to see their faith grow and friendships build. And right now, we have a second generation in Solid Rock. And it's amazing what your church has done. This church is so generational, and I love it. You guys have become our family. And when I get excited, I talk about my church family, because I know you guys are there to support us and love us and take on my kids, even in their crazy times, because they're boys. That's all I have to say about that. So, my point is, if you want to get involved in this church, find a way that brings your heart joy. Find a way that makes your heart sing. It doesn't have to be a choir or anything else. It could be greeting at the front door. It could be ushering. It could be liturgist. It could be doing John's job. No. So what I'm saying is we have 55 different ministries here at this church. There is opportunity for everybody in this church. So I encourage you to sign up for something. Volunteer. If you want to be a volunteer for Solid Rock, we'd love to have you. Youth, if you want to be part of a pretty cool choir, we'd love to have you. We need boys. We'd love to have you. We will love on you like nobody's business. If you need extra love that you don't get anywhere else, we'll give it to you, because we love you guys. So I'm going to leave you with this, and it's from Colossians 3:23. It says, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving." Thank you.